Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. I'm not able to see folks coming through right now.
And I don't know if you sent a reminder to people too, if that's the other thing that can,
It's
yep.
usually automatic if you
Okay.
set it in the automatic setting. Welcome, folks. If you're joining us, please. Oh, thank you for the hearts. Please introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know where you are dialing in from. And if this is your first webinar, if you've been attending since the very beginning, we would love to hear from you. Hey, Aliyah, good to see you. San Rafael. Oh, I know it's hot today. It's 100 degrees in Sacramento. Hi, Rumi. Gonna give it a couple minutes for folks to settle in. And maybe a raise of hand, how many of you are currently working with the Sacramento Valley Small Business Development Center or any other SBDC centers in your area? And if you're not already, I'm gonna give you everything you need to know about SBDC and some. Let me know when we should go ahead and get started, Kathy.
I'm ready. Let's go
Okay.
ahead and get started. Yeah.
All right, great. Welcome, everyone. And I'm just going to do a quick introduction of the SBDC if you're not familiar with our services already. My name is Sui Alex. I am the director of the Sacramento Valley Small Business Development Center. Who are we? We are a national program of over 1,000 locations in the country. We're funded by the Small Business Administration, been around for 40 years. And what we do is we provide no-cost professional technical assistance in working with you one-on-one, as well as providing training such as this one to help you start and grow your business. For Sacramento Valley SBDC, we cover 4 counties, Sacramento, Yolo, Yuba, and Sutter. And if you do not fall within any of these counties, do not worry. There will be an SBDC center that serves your county or location. And so I would encourage you to either put in a chat, and if you're looking for a location, we'll provide you with the link to get connected to the nearest SBDC near you. Services that we provide include helping you start your business. Business plan is always important, business planning. If you're looking for funding, that's our bread and butter. Other types of auxiliary services, including accounting, bookkeeping, succession planning, social media marketing, and AI. And Kathy is one of our AI certified advisor. And we also provide a lot of networking events for you to connect with potential buyers and agencies if your business would like to get contracts with different entities. And again, our services are provided to you at no cost. I just want to emphasize on where you can find us every month. We are at 2 locations in Woodland, in Yolo County. We're in Yuba County every second Wednesday of the month, and also City of Yuba City, 4th Wednesday. Tomorrow, we're going to be in City Yuba City. And starting in October, we're going to be hosting office hours as well at the Better Business Bureau in Rancho Cordova. Typically, the office hours run from 10 to 2 p.m. And we will be promoting those office hours on our social media. And this is how you can stay in touch with us. And the links to sign up for a one-on-one appointment will also be provided. If you're not already working with SBDC and would like to work with an advisor, this is the link, as well as the instruction to sign up. There's a QR code. Go to sacramentovalley.sbdc.org and stay in touch with us to receive email newsletter that goes out twice a month to find out what we're doing, what kind of training we're offering, and where we're going to be hosting office hours. And on that note, upcoming training events is something that we're hosting currently, and you're in good company later on. And a couple of other trainings that are coming up, including Branding Basics, which is 2 days from now. It's going to be hosted in person. and boost your sales for the holiday season. As you all know, we're going into fall, holiday season is coming. How can you position your business to capture the most sales during the holiday? And last but not least, this is our email. Should you need to contact us, phone numbers, as well as our website and QR code if you need to sign up or visit our website. And on that note, I will pass it on to Kathy, our main instructor for the evening.
All right, everybody. Hi there, and welcome back to the AI Power Hour series. A big thank you to Sacramento Valley SBDC for making this possible. And it's the best resource for small businesses. So I encourage you to sign up if you're not already a client. And if you've joined us before, awesome. If this is your first time, welcome. This is a 1-hour session. So it's about 50 minutes, which includes Q&A at the end. So you can drop your questions in chat at any time. I'll get to most of them at the end, unless it's a kind of clarifying question. I'm Kathy Ballack. I'm a certified AI specialist and business advisor in AI and marketing. So today is week 4, and we're delving into marketing strategy, specifically how you can use AI tools to create or improve your strategy in a way that's fast, practical, and tailored to small businesses. So before we get started, I want to just mention for those of you who have been here throughout the weeks, to please watch carefully to see which prompting techniques we're going to use that we covered a couple of weeks ago. So specifically, you're going to see in some of the prompting that we're going to do, we're going to see having AI do things in multiple steps, not all at once. So we're going to break some things down. So I want you to watch for these, because it's the most important thing that you can do with AI is not only use it, but learn how to prompt and to get what you need better. So again, we're going to cover number 1, how AI can do things in multiple steps versus, not all at once. Some back and forth interaction to get what I want. Being specific and providing enough context to get good responses. Using more than one AI tool. And then treating it like a collaborator by telling it to ask me questions before responding. And asking for current info. So if you see any of those, please throw it all in chat, like, haha, I caught one of those, because those are going to be your best prompting practices. So with that, let's go ahead and jump in. Before I share my screen, I just want to talk a little bit about marketing strategy first. I want you to think about marketing strategy as your roadmap. It answers 4 big questions. Who are you trying to reach? What do they care about? How will you connect with them? And how do you build a brand and stay consistent? So why does it matter? Why does it, if you just go out and do, and manage your business, what is the difference between having a marketing strategy? And I'm a marketing person as well as an AI person. So 71% of small businesses with a formal marketing strategy outperform their competitors. And those with documented strategies are 3 times more likely to succeed. So starting with your strategy, what exactly you're doing in terms of your marketing is so important. And AI is a fabulous tool for this. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we can get to, I do have a handout for you today. There we go. And this is the handout that you're going to get afterwards. So this is going to show you all the things that, some of the steps that we're going to follow through today. We're going to cover market research into positioning your business, into branding, setting SMART goals, and then turning your goals into a marketing plan. So simple 5 steps. I'm going to lead you through this process today. 2 things also before, actually, just one other thing to think about before we start, which is that as I'm going to do demos, there's different modes within AI, the ways it can work. And I'm going to use 2 programs today. I'm going to use more of 2 programs, but I'm going to especially focus on ChatGPT and Google Gemini today. And with these 2, you're going to get better results if you can get it to do deeper thinking. So I will show you what I mean by that. But all of the um, AI programs have different ways of thinking, right? So if I click on ChatGPT, I've got instant answers right away. If we're doing things like we're talking about marketing strategy, I'm going to want to have a thinking approach. So I'm typically going to click on this. And it's going to be the same thing over in Gemini. I'm going to do deep research. So if I'm just trying to get a quick, question answered, that's fine. But when you're doing what we're covering today, I want it to focus on a more, focused, a more deep thinking through this. So when you replicate this, please make sure to remember that. Okay, so again, we're going to go through the 5 steps today. And the other thing, there is one other thing I'd like you to think about, and this is what we covered last week. For those of you who were here, when we covered ChatGPT, we talked about some of the advanced functionality, and that means that we covered the projects down here, right? So I've got my projects. I'm in a project called SBDC Demos, and we also covered custom GPTs. So I'm going to ask you for some of these things. What would you prefer to do? Would you prefer to do a custom GPT or a project? And if you don't quite know the difference of this, I'm going to explain one more time from last week, which is a project is where I keep everything together. So when I'm doing SBDC work, I have that. I do some things with food, so I keep it together there. My client advising, so I'm working with a specific client, I put it there. And my SBDC demos, I'm keeping it there. And then I have custom GPTs, and I always say these are one-trick ponies. So they're to do one specific thing. So like I have my email analyzer when I'm, an email generator first to create SBDC emails, and then even an analyzer to follow up and make sure it's right. They just do typically one focus. They're a focused assistant for you. So also consider that because that can be a real handy thing for you. Gemini, Google Gemini does have gems, which function very similarly to the custom GPTs. And though it doesn't have it yet, Gemini is working on having something similar to projects. So look for those as well. So even though I'm going to talk about those 2 things applied as we talk today, just keep in mind. And again, if all of this is confusing for you, you don't need to start off with those. It's just that for those of you who are advanced, this will help you get even further, is thinking about how you're going to use custom GPTs and projects or the equivalent Google Gems and eventually their projects, whatever it's going to be called in Gemini. Okay, so let's go ahead to market research. So over here, again, you're going to get this handout. And your goal is to understand who your ideal customer is, your industry trends, and competitors in your area are typically the things you're going to start off with. This is a really good foundation for understanding your business. So let's walk through each one of these. So first of all, customer research. So I'm going to go into here. And again, this is simply a chat that I've got going. I just put it into my SBDC demos to keep it a little bit more roped off from the other things that I do. And I'm going to put in a prompt. So this is an example that I'm doing. I own a small eco-friendly refill shop in Sacramento called Riverbend Refillery that sells household and personal care products in bulk to reduce plastic waste. We serve walk-in customers and have a monthly refill subscription for locals. I want to do customer research. Can you help me describe my ideal customers and what they value? Should be a signal to you, right? Before you write anything, ask me 5 clarifying questions to better understand my business and my customer. Okay, that should be the first gimme, right? That was something that we covered under better prompting. Have it ask you those questions. And here's the thing, I can run this over here and I can start running it over in Google at the exact same time. if I was doing this, ideally, I would have maybe uploaded a document of this business, but it's a fake business, so I don't have that. But if I had more information, I would provide it all of that I had, and I would do so by adding files of other information. But I'm going to go ahead and click this. And so it's going to ask me my questions came up pretty quickly. This is taking a little bit longer with Gemini. Why? Because I've got it on deep research. It's going to help me think a little bit more. Same thing with this. It might take a little bit longer. And it's going to ask me 5 quick questions to dial in. Who are my best current customers today? This is going to help me really think this through, right? So I'm just going to take a stab at it and say, they are women ages 40 to 60. I don't know which neighborhoods, because I just in Sacramento through, I could choose an area, right? But I'm just gonna say throughout Sacramento, especially downtown. And how they found me. Gosh, these are going to be some challenging questions, right? And I'm just making up something. They are typically, household type. So they are, own their own, I'll just say own their own home. So there's a lot of stuff that I need to put in here, and I don't want to get too hung up on these. What are my top selling products, right? This is a hard one. So I might say, this is going to be home cleansers, body care products, lotions, and shampoos, etc. And it has a lot of other questions for it. And how does your monthly subscription work? I don't know. And where exactly are you located? And what's the in-store experience? So this is asking me some challenging questions. And I'm going to have a hard time. Let's see what it's did over in Gemini here. Let's see. So our questions over here going to be probably pretty similar. Define the general demographic and psychographic. The psychographic are going to be more about kind of behavioral, different other things besides the usual demographic profiles of anyone who's interested. So getting to understand my customer better, analyze the specific values and motivations of these customers, investigate consumer behavior and purchasing habits. So we've got a lot of stuff here. In fact, this one actually asked me 6 questions. So it asked me a little bit more than I expected. I said 5 clarifying and actually asked me 6 questions. So, but that's how it works. Let me just say, I'm just going to say, I don't know any other info. Please fill in the blanks and create this company. And let's see what it comes up with. It's generative AI. It is happy to do stuff, which is also why you can get, as I mentioned last week, or week before, it was, watching for hallucinations where it creates information because it is designed to create information. And then I'm going to go ahead and, whoops, not there. I'm going to say our customers are, and we sell, our best sellers are. Let's see what it comes up with. But it's, again, who is she? So it's going to come up with some information. And how is it going to do this? It's going to look at what information it knows about these type of businesses. It might be able to look at some information that it knows specifically to the area that I'm in. But it's going to make it make some assumptions. So it's going to give me some great information. And I got my customer profiles here. This is terrific. So I said who my ideal customers are, what they value, and asked me 5 clarifying, but I did bypass that. So now it's giving me some of my customer profiles. helping me understand who they are. Again, if I was doing this properly, I would have really thought out those questions and it would have helped me put them through. It's giving me a lot of great other information here too. The biggest challenge is that making sure you get good information. If you don't put in good information in, you're not going to get good information out. Okay, let's see. What happened to me? I've updated the list. Let me know if anything else. Research websites. Okay, so it's synthesize. Okay, let's just say start research. So next step that I might do is once I've got that, again, I'm just on this first step, which is market research, understanding a little bit about who my customer is. I could delve into further kind of questions. Once I'm happy with this and I say, yes, this is my customer, and I'm feeling like I'm truly connecting with them, I can ask other questions, such as what messaging would appeal to them? What are the key problems they are trying to solve? And this is really marketing speak. Because people respond to problem solution. So I'll go ahead and put that in. And again, I'm doing a thinking mode. So that means that things are going to take a little bit longer and I'm a little bit slower on Gemini too. In fact, some of this can take a long time as we're really getting into it. I might move to a quick mode just to show you a little bit more. But this is how it should work when we're working on this. So problems they're trying to solve. So here they are, emotional identity, what they're, so all of this fills in really well for some of the marketing. Copy that you can use persona, right? So I've got, this is matching up the messaging I use to the different, people who are purchasing my product, the very specific personas. So I've got my 3 there in the messages targeted to them, channel ready snippets, et cetera, et cetera. So I have in here, again, I've got my side by side with the handout I'm giving you. So this is going to show you some example of prompts, right? And typically you're going to put at the end, ask me 5 questions before you get started. You're going to use the more in-depth research option. And then I gave you other things here, so that's how you're going to get to your ideal customer. And then we'll go over here and Gemini is still working, which isn't a bad thing. This isn't meant to be a quick one and done. This is meant to be something that's going to take a little while. So in the meantime, let's move over to our second thing here, which is that we have, understanding your ideal customer, understanding ideal trends. So what do I want to know? I want to know about what's happening with eco products and sustainability and the local movement. How is this being affected? And I'm going to use a different tool for this. I'm going to go over and use Perplexity. I really like Perplexity. It's considered more of an answer engine. It's not where I'm going to do my work and create my marketing messages, but when I just have a research question I want to answer, it is fabulous. So in here, and again, I'm on the industry trends. So I'm not going to ask what are the biggest trends of 25 in the zero waste and refillable goods market in California right now. I could even put in, if you want, Northern California. We'll see, does it know that? I don't know. Any forecasts or opportunities in the refill shop space? And let's see what it comes up with. And there we go. We've got our marketing trends. Everything that's going to average companies facing legislative, so it's going through a whole bunch of different things. And these would be where I start doing, I could do a great SWOT analysis with this, right? My strengths, weaknesses, which are internal, but then my opportunities and threats, which are external things. What options are there for me to grow? What threats might I have to deal with, that might be impacting me. I wonder if it has things like tariffs or anything like that. But a lot of times for a lot of these refill shops, we're going to be buying things from California or I should say the US anyway. So some good information that I can use. What am I going to do after I get this? So I'm on here, step 2, and I'm over in a different tool. I'm in Perplexity. This would be great information to say copy, download it, rethink it through. How does this apply to my business? And if I'm working in my SBDC stuff over here, I can pull that information back into here. So I can do it as a simple, right? Put it in a Word document, put it as a PDF and upload it. It's not that I can't do the research. I can do the research in ChatGPT and Gemini. I just find Perplexity to be a great place to do that. And then focus on the things that are going to be important to me and put it into a singular document, a single document and pull it in. So that's how I would consider doing that to move on to the next step. So looking at industry trends, especially what is going to, apply to you, and then looking at competitors in your area. So let's go on to competitor research. Google, and especially Google's all about, all the websites that are out there. It's great information. So is ChatGPT. So they're both going to be really good for competitor research. So let's just start with again, I gave you a really simple prompt here, list other refill stores in Sacramento. How can I stand out? I'm going to do something even more advanced than that. So you can, again, start thinking about how you're going to improve your prompting. What other refill or zero waste stores exist in Sacramento? What are their websites and what is unique about them? You are an expert industry researcher who can help me identify the main companies in the market and tell me how I can be better than them. I want you to find me the best companies that are similar, that are in a similar business. Oh, I see business in this because I got this down there, and to me in the area. This is just a little shorthand you can use that I put things down below. It's an extra little trick. It's not necessary. You could just simply fill that in and it'll be the same thing. Deliver your response with a company name, a description of what makes them good at what they do, a sentence on what I could do better, and a link to their website. So let's see. And I'm going to, again, do this. This one's taking a while, hence I have two open here. I'm not going to do the deep thinking on this because this might be might take a little while. So I'm just going to leave this on its regular instead of putting in, trying to do the tools, the deep, it's still on deep research anyway. Okay. So here's the refill stores, what makes them good. Refill Madness, Nudge Eco Store, Eco Joyous, Re-Up Refills. So now I'm doing my great information here about the competitors in my area. So with these three things, I've got my first step done. I've got my market research done. And then I can start looking at, well, how am I going to position my business? How do I want to be different? If there's some really great stores out there, what can I be known for? And so the main things about positioning, this is one of the hardest things I find from a marketing standpoint, is what makes you unique? I find businesses have such a hard time answering that. But this should be one of the core marketing concepts you deal with. What makes you unique and why should I buy from you? Why should customers come to you and buy from you? What do you stand for? Who do you want to serve? All of those kind of things, but really understanding how you're going to position yourself against your competitors. So once I have my competitor sites, for example, let's take this one, I can say, can you read into this website and tell me what their value proposition is and anything that makes them unique? So I'm getting more into, as you can see, positioning my business. I really want to understand a little bit more about them and start getting into how I'm going to position myself. So their value proposition gets into better grocery system that minimize waste, so blah, blah, blah. So there's a whole bunch of different things here. And I can start asking this. How can I position? I don't know why it's doing that. How can I position my refill shop differently? And let's go there. And again, I'm often, going to do the same thing over here. exactly the same. Oh, it's still searching for refill shops, so it's taking a while. There we go. And there it spits out. Let's see, do exactly the same ones. We've got Refill Madness again. I saw the Nudge Eco. I don't remember Village General Store and Refillery. Eco Joyous. Yeah. So it's going to provide, I love doing more than one, just to see what kind of, oh, I've got green gifts this time. See how I can get some different results. This one's giving me more. I've got Rutherford Reserve, um, and of land and sea. So again, often doing more than one, which was indeed one of my tips, is going to help me get a little bit more stuff. So can you read into website? And the website was, maybe I'll read into a different website this time. Let's see, we had copy link. I'll just put there, and I'm going to do this a different way. I'll just tell it right into there. I don't need that. And after that question is optional, by the way. And tell me what their value proposition and anything that makes them unique. Actually, I'm going to take away this question first. And let's see if they can do this. Remember, I talked about this. I think it was 2 sessions ago, or was it last week? About reading into, this is an important phrase I'm using here, which is to read into the website. Can you read into the website? Right, and here I did website, and tell me about their value proposition. And it's giving me their value proposition. This one's still, there we go, what they promise. I mentioned this because sometimes you don't know if this always works. Some of these tools sometimes can have a hard time reading into a website. One way to make sure if it's really reading into the website is to find a word or phrase or something special they have in that website and ask it about that to make sure it's really getting in there. So remember, that was an important tip that I gave you, because as long as it's working, you get really good information, right? But this is generational AI. Even if it can't really read, it will still come up with stuff. So that's why always make sure it really is doing what it's supposed to. So this is a fabulous way of understanding. And then I go to that second question: how can I position my refill shop differently? I'm really getting ahead in a massive way, right? Like right? We've gotten to market research. We've covered how I'm going to position myself. I understand my competitors. I understand, what I might be able to do differently is how all this is going to work. And again, I gave you short prompts, but you'll want to even expand them a little bit more. Okay, let's talk about the next step as this comes up with some good stuff here. A 5-minute refill club, derm safety, refillery, whole home performance refill. Oh, this is really some great ideas here. So 4 clear differentiation wedges is how it's reminding me. I'm going to realistically, and this is, let's see, I did the proposition over here. So realistically, I'm going to compare these. I'm going to think about what's going to be working better. All right, so let's move on to step 3, which is going to be branding. And AI can really help with your everything else, your color palette, tagline, messaging tone. And so this is where I'm going to think about my identity and the value that my business provides. It's going to, branding is about what people recognize, trust, and what they feel connected to. And why is this important? Because consistency matters. Marketing is kind of like throwing darts. The more consistently you can show up and make a great shot, the better chance you have of hitting the bullseye. So branding is where, and branding is one of the other places people get really stuck. So branding is more than your logo. It's the feel, the voice, the emotional connection that people associate with your business. So once you really understand, where you stand in the market, understand your market research and how you're going to position your business, then you can also move on to your branding. So I'm going to come up with a prompt here and share this with you back in here. So I've got some wonderful ideas here of the differentiating. I'm going to go with number 1 here. Let's go with number 1. Just so it knows how I'm going to position myself. And I'm going to say, based on this positioning, can you suggest a color palette and a tagline based on sustainability, affordability, and community? Please explain your reasoning. Let's see what it comes up with. So again, these are some of the building blocks of my branding. And I can do the same thing over here. Got my positioning here, how I could do it differently. I'm just going to say, let's go with number 1, educational hub. This took a very different approach to hyperlocal marketplace, the luxury refillery. I think in this one, I'm going to try number 3. I think I want to be the luxury refillery. Let's go with number 3. And based on this positioning, can you suggest a color palette and tagline? Let's see how similar they end up. I don't have to do that, by the way. I just, my little organizational sense. So that's a great choice because this is AI and it always wants to reinforce. So I'm doing muted sage green, charcoal gray. It's giving me some colors. There's my taglines. And over in here, it gave me the, what do you call them? The codes, the hex codes. So there's my color palette with rolls. So it's giving me, primary, an accent, some support colors, and I wouldn't choose all of those. I'd probably choose, I definitely would have white. But maybe I only choose a couple of those other ones. So some quick pairings that stay readable. I'm getting some really good results here with ChatGPT, by the way, if you notice, and some great taglines that go with whatever you remember I suggested the refill in 5, save money, save our river. Wow, that's great. So I've moved on to some wonderful branding things. And there's one other thing I really want to show you here. That's one other tool. Actually, even before I get to that, let me just do this. Let me add one more prompt that I wanted to add. Can you help me build brand guidelines? Ask me 5 questions to gather important information first. I'm going to watch our time, so I'm not going to put this in, but this would be another good follow-up. Can you help me build my brand guidelines? I'm starting to build things. Remember I said before about I didn't ask it my color. I didn't ask and give me all of this stuff at once. I'm breaking it down. I'm saying, help me with the color palette and the tagline. Now I'm saying, help me build my brand guidelines. I'm breaking it down step by step. So ask me 5 questions to help gather important information first. Again, I have an example on there. It's a little bit different. Suggest, explain the reasoning, one of the tips. But also, this is one of my favorite ways of prompting. Ask me 5 questions or ask me questions to gather important information first. And you can add before responding or however you want. Anyways, like I said, just for the information of time, I'm not going to deal with that right now because I want to show you another tool. And this is one of the favorites, which we have a class dedicated to this. And this is Canva. Hopefully, a number of you are already working in Canva. But this is a fabulous way of working with your brand. And when you go over here, you can see that you've got your brand. You can upload logos. You can have color palettes. So even if I create something here, like for example, this image, there's several images here and they're all created just through some of their templates. I can at least start going through here and clicking my branding and making sure, just even dealing with some simple color, right? Differences. Whoops, that's still on that one. But I like that last one, right? That turned out really nice of how to deal with that. And because as long as I have my information in here, and this is the paid version, mind you, you can't do all of this with the free version, but you can have all of this in here where you have your planning for your brand voice. You can add photos, graphics, the fonts that you're using. And here if I'm on here, it's giving me brand suggestions because it's saying it's not following my brand. So change to the brand font, change to the brand color. It's helping me think all of these through. So this for the actual, once you've got everything planned for your brand, this is where I would typically go upload, have all the information, and that will make sure that you start doing all of your branding materials in line with your brand. Ooh, there's a lot covered already. So that's branding. And then we still have two more steps to cover. And this is getting into, okay, you've got your brand, we've gotten through market research, positioning, branding. Now what? This gets to the implementation. What are you going to do next? And I like to start with SMART goals, and SMART meaning smart, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. And we could ask for these to be, anything, like, for example, you wouldn't say grow Instagram followers. You would say grow Instagram by 100 followers in 30 days by posting 3 times a week. That might be a better example of a goal that you would set. So I've got a prompt ready here for these. Instead of like that, like I said, because that we were going to run out of time, help me set 3 to 5 marketing goals to help to grow my budding refill business over the next 60 days. Focus on foot traffic and email signups. Please explain your reason. It's just a little bonus I love having in there. And that one still got stuck, obviously, with slow thinking, but that can happen. If it's something big, this can take not just a few minutes, but it can take hours. So that's why I keep a few prompts open, because we're just doing a demo. And that's okay. You want it to take time on the things that matter. And I'm going to put the same thing in here. And again, it's just me. I like having it nice, neat looking when I'm looking back at it. So help me set those goals. This one's a pretty easy one. It's going to help me think of increased foot traffic via curated in-store events, grow my email list, absolutely. Drive first-time visits, so people just discovering stuff with the social media campaign, some good stuff there. Similar, growing store traffic by, this one's really getting smart, 35% versus week 1 baseline by day 60. Drive 60 incremental, wow. So look at this. This one's getting very specific. Like I said, I'm getting some really good results with ChatGPT, but I always do love comparing, seeing what I'm getting. All right, so that's going to give me, and I'm going to choose, I'm just going to say for the sake of time, I like all of these goals. I gave me 4 nice goals there. I like these goals. And for my 5th step, I want to help start creating this into a marketing plan. And the point of a marketing plan are all the marketing tactics, the things that you do, where you will spend your time and budget to achieve your goals. So you want to break this down into specific activities that you're going to do over a period of time. So, for example, I'm just going to say, I like these goals. And so, I'm going to say I want to help creating a marketing plan for all my marketing activities, which I will connect with to say these SMART goals. Can you suggest all of the marketing activities I should consider for my type of business? Jump over here again and do exactly the same thing. I'm just going to say I like those goals. It gave me 5 goals here. Local partnerships. I love local partnerships to cross promote. That's a really good one. I do marketing. I talk about these things all the time. I always use AI because even if I'm thinking about something, it will always be like, oh yes, I forgot about that. And just help make sure you're being really comprehensive. And it makes things so much easier. Okay, so this is going to make 5 minutes obvious, which is what the campaign, right? The focus, storefront wayfinding. So storefront, I love it. Price clarity, local SEO and maps, website conversion. And over here, It's going to give me some more. So in-store and local marketing, it might take different approaches to them, but it's still going to do different, same things. And again, we've got in-person here, and then we've got online activities. And this is going to be online too, content marketing, primary content, online marketing. So there we go. And that gave us 10, 11 different things there. I might even go further. Remember, this is a conversation. I might say, can you help me prioritize these? It's a lot of stuff, really good stuff here. Look at this. Look at all of these ideas. This one's just really loading them on me. So I'm especially going to ask, can you help me prioritize these? Because it's a lot there. And so there we go. We got all of these in two, explain, can you help me prioritize me? And I also gave you one last bonus thing to think about as it's doing this. Let me just move this one out of the way because that one's still too busy. Prioritize must do, medium priority. I just want to stop here and say one thing though, which is that you need to come back. I'm doing all this stuff and it's coming up automatically, but you need to stop and say, does this fit my business? For a couple of reasons. One is because it's AI. It doesn't know about you enough to make the best decisions. You have to do that. So at each juncture, always stop, review, and make sure, is this right? Do I agree with this? And the other reason why I think it's really important is because there's a lot of mistakes you can make as a small business, right? We can spend money, we can mess up our advertising, we can do a lot of things wrong, but there's also not one right way to do your business. There are multiple things that have to do with what is your vision for this business. So all of these things, every step, you're going to stop and you're going to review, and you're not going to just say, yes, take these and move to the next step. You're going to decide and say, no, let's go with these things. No, I think we should be doing this, and then move to the next step. So last thing I want to show you is an extra bonus that you can do. I'm just going to say these are good, and I'm just passing things for our time. These are good. Please help me build, I'm not going to fix it this time, a 4-week marketing calendar to promote my free guide. I'm saying I have a guide now, 50 easy ways to make your home more sustainable. My SMART goal is to build my list by 100 people and issue 20 loyalty cards over this next 60 days. My audience is active on Instagram and Facebook and receives emails twice a week. Ask me questions if needed. I won't even put that. It doesn't need to know, just this. And I'll go do that. And same thing over in ChatGPT. And let's see what it comes up with under both of these. Okay. I want to see, is it really giving me, okay, there's my week 1. So it's talking a little bit about my overall strategy. Week 1, overall primary push, email stuff, emails 1 and 2. So it's giving me a good sense of what I'm doing here. And we've got it coming out here. So even told me how long it's taking, right, to think about this through. Let's see what it comes up with. I'm going to go to one more step. And I'm going to see, can you put this into a downloadable spreadsheet? This one cannot create a physical spreadsheet, but it can provide a 4-week marketing calendar in a clear, organized text form, so I can copy and paste it into a spreadsheet. And you will find that tools are different this way. But here we have a lovely week by week, and let's do that. It's still going. There we go. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, everything's great. Tracking and checkpointing, why this works. So there's the reasoning. I didn't even ask it for the reasoning this time, and it gave me the reasoning. So it's getting used to me asking for the reasoning. I just said, ask me questions if needed this time. So I'm going to have it put in a downloadable, the same thing, downloadable spreadsheet. You will find some just little things different between each of the tools. Another reason why I like to try using different ones. But what I would want to do through this process is, once I've really finished through it, is look at what results am I getting through each of these? How similar are they? Are there some ideas coming out through another one? Okay, and so that was still going, but step 5, turn goals into your marketing plan. So we covered 5 goals here: market research, positioning your business against, your competitors, what the market needs, branding, setting your SMART goals, and then turning those goals into a full marketing plan. And this is going to give me a full thing that I can download. It's still going there, still analyzing. So you can see it's using Python. Whew, I know that was quite a lot. But as a wrap up, I want to remember that there's a few things. One, you are the one who has to decide what fits into your values, your brand, and your voice. You want to use AI like a teammate, not a boss. So it's not telling you what to do. It's giving you ideas, and you're going to come back and take them and fill in and move to next steps. So, and hopefully you caught some of the little prompt clues that I put in there, right? Things like, explain your reasoning, ask me questions, things that are going to improve that. These are the things that are going to massively improve your ability to get what you need to out of AI. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and open up to questions.
Thanks, Kathy. Round of applause for a really great presentation. I always learn something new. So we're gonna follow up with the questions. First one from Marion. Is the folder feature in ChatGPT only available for the paid version?
Is the what?
Is the folder feature in the ChatGPT only available for
Oh,
the paid version?
the projects.
Yeah.
So with projects, it is actually available to everybody, free as well. What ChatGPT does, and if you see my one from last week, it'll cover this really in depth, is that custom GPTs you cannot create if you don't have the paid version, but they don't have a limit on projects on how many you can create. The only limitation they really have is how many files that you can upload to a specific project. That's the only thing. But this is a fabulous way of grouping the things that you do and keeping them. And if you recall, when I covered, for those of you who were here last week, when you do a new project, you can select if you want it to have memory throughout your whole ChatGPT, or just to the project only. So that's a really helpful little extra to know, of how do you want this one to think? Do you want it to keep it narrowed off? Do you want it to, um, just to be on its own? So just the little aspects of it. But
Okay.
really great tool.
Thank you. Do you also keep your search for each entity in its specific folder project?
The search for each. So this is I had mentioned this at the beginning, and I'd like you to think about this. When do you use custom GPTs versus projects? Um, Uh, if I'm just doing things one-off, I just do it as a regular chat. Like I'll just click chat. But if I'm working on something, and the reason why I have, for example, I have client advising is because I'm working with clients over a period of time, and I can go back. I'm not going to show you this because our clients are confidential, but I could go through and have a client in here who I'm working with, and I can go back to our chat that we met 2 weeks ago, and I can continue that same chat. And that's extremely powerful. So that ongoing project is really, really helpful for for managing clients, specific projects you're working on. The moment I have anything that I'm going to kind of continue a conversation on, I always use a project. It's a great, great tool. And what it does is as you can see, I clicked on my SBDC. You can see all the different SBDC stuff, all the different chats that I've had going on. So I don't have to go down here and try to find them or do search chats. I can just go through here and all my chats are in one place, even though I've got a lot of chats there for the SBDC.
Eventually, you'll be finding chat in a chat, right?
A chat and a chat, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do use search a lot. You can find stuff, in there too. But this is helpful because I know that all of these things are going to be, related. And the other thing is that if you notice, I've got 6 files uploaded here to my SBDC things. So I've also got it trained on the SBDC. I probably have my brand guidelines. I have different things, I don't even know what I have in here. I've got different stuff in here. I uploaded different things, but usually and I will have, like, if I'm working with a specific thing, like let's say I have my SBDC marketing file, because I have a marketing file from there, I'll have our brand guidelines uploaded. Maybe I have a few good examples uploaded of, great emails we've done or great social media posts or things like that. And that will help it learn, what do I want to see? It needs to have best examples.
Okay, thank you. Do you prefer Perplexity for research versus Chat GPT or Gemini research mode? Why?
Um, it depends what it is. A lot of times for questions like I did today, I will use Perplexity. Gemini can do some great research. Part of it is because that one of the issues I often find is, even though I want current information, right? With the question I asked Perplexity was the biggest trends in 2025. I find I often get outdated information, in like ChatGPT, and Gemini is a little bit more iffy too. But this is made for just answering questions. Its purpose is it's an answer machine. So when I just need an answer, I do find that I get the best answers from Perplexity. But I also suggest, as you noticed, using more than one. So I could have asked this same question, gone over to Gemini and asked exactly the same question. I just didn't because of time. But using more than one is a fabulous way of working, and just making sure, it helps make sure you're on track and you feel comfortable with, sometimes you'll get some other ideas, other things that maybe, this didn't pull up. It's very possible. So you want all of the information. The biggest challenge is that if you're doing a lot of this, is that if you don't have paid tools, you will hit limits.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the AI recommendations are not quite right for your business, what is the best way to redirect? Are there certain phrases that are more effective than others?
Prompting is, I think what you're saying is about how you're going to prompt, and that is so important. Here's one of the biggest things is that you think of, I mentioned this in past ones, which is, think of, like, picture a person there beside your computer is my answer to you. Know that you're talking to somebody who's just showed up on their first day of work. They know nothing about you, nothing about your business. So it's up to you to train them. So when you get something you don't like, it's up to you to also train them and say, no, that's not what here's what I need, and to lead them to understanding. And that means, for example, let's say that I'm turning my goals into a marketing plan, and each of these steps, there's a human involved. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rework this and make it exactly the way I want it to be. When I have my final product, I'm going to upload it and say, this is what this is what I finalized, because now it can learn what I really want. If you start interacting like that, you're going to get better results. But if you just keep asking questions and then you go off and you do your own thing and you never say, well, this is actually what I wanted, it can't learn from that. And I also urge you to go back to the last session. Anybody who wasn't here, Joseph did send out a link to that I talk about customizing your AI, which will allow it to have the memory and to learn from your interactions. So you need to have that turned on, number one, and then you need to be training it. And you can train it within a project. So you can have that project very specific to, sorry, let me go back to, if I create a project that, because, maybe we do a whole bunch of different things and I create a project, I can have that turned on to just being project only knowledge. So it won't learn anything from the outside. So if I'm working with multiple clients, for example, I might have a project just for that client. So I can upload their information and it can be unique to that client. right? So it's not going to be confused by the things I'm doing in my business because now we can be talking about their business. I know all this gets confusing, but it's again advanced ChatGPT kind of thing. And again, some of this is going to also apply in Gemini. Interesting. I still don't have my response there yet. Still in slow thinking. All
So
right.
just know that you can actually receive one-on-one advising from someone like Kathy, an AI certified advisor, to help you fine-tune your AI skills to run your business, right? Whether it's developing a marketing strategy, just kind of going over what you've developed, run it by a marketing advisor to make sure that your strategy is on point, and that's something that SBDC will provide.
Yeah, and I would say it's so important to figure out, like, how are you going to manage and set up your workspace is number one. If you set up your workspace, if you come at it with how to prompt properly, you're going to get the great results. Otherwise, you're going to be like, why am I not getting this? And so it's partly the setup that you start off with too. And if you notice, I've got all these different custom GPTs, which are again those little mini programs, little trick ponies that do one thing. And you have to be able to say, well, when would I have this? Well, we put out a monthly, twice a monthly email. So I need an email generator, an email analyzer regularly. But versus when should I put things in a project? Setting that kind of stuff up again, or if you're working in Gemini, they've got Google the gems. And they will be coming up with something like projects. I don't know what the ETA is on that. Claude
Right.
Anthropic is another great one, by the way. So there's other ones out there. I'm not advocating necessarily one. I work in ChatGPT a lot. I think the main things I would advocate you choosing what you want, what you like the best, and stick with it because they keep changing. And it's hard enough to keep up with the changes. And if you've got yourself spread through a whole bunch of different things, when do you have time to run your business?
That's right. One last question. Can you actually share the refill perplexity report with one of the audience?
Let's see if I can do this because I think I can do that. Let's see if I can put that in chat. But again, this is just such a I don't like to focus on the answers because I think the more important thing is to know what are the answers for you. And so I like doing the demos, but I do think that it's limiting. So let's see. Let's see if I can put that in there. The main thing
Marion,
is
sorry, go ahead.
the main thing is really the prompt, right? Is
Yeah.
understanding what a good prompt is. And it's not letting me copy this and paste it in here. There we go. So that was the exact prompt. Like I said, it's very similar to the prompt I gave you. But it's going to give me something. Let's see what I can. Zoom has limitation for how many characters it'll let me add, but I'll try to add some of it at least. Um, but if you put that in there, you should be able to do exactly the same thing. And it's just having a challenge putting this in there. Paste.
And
It's
Marion, we're
it's
gonna
it's
get to
too
your question.
large. It's just getting too large. It won't take it. But that's the prompt. Again, I would encourage you, don't take what I've put in there, put it in Perplexity and give it a try. That's the only way you're going to get better at this is if
And,
you start doing the prompts.
and one last question. Which program did you attend to become a certified AI specialist?
It was a SBDC and Google training. So I at SBDC and Google, it's actually a national certification training, so it's not open to just anybody to attend, unfortunately. It's as a business advisor I attended last year. Yeah, last year.
I would also believe that there are a lot of AI training programs out there to, again, teach you how to use all these different AI tools out there. You
Yeah,
just have to find the right one that works for you.
yeah. To be honest with you, also the biggest thing is just using it regularly because as much as I've been certified, everything's changed even since I've been certified. It's not about the certification. It's about the dedication to learning stuff regularly. I get regular blogs. I am keeping up on stuff regular, and it's quite a commitment. It's the reason why I said is that, how do you keep up with AI and run your business? My answer to that is choose a few tools that are going to be most helpful with your business and learn how to do those really well. Because saying, does Gemini work better, or does, ChatGPT or and Claude, they all leapfrog each other. And for the purposes that we have, they are all going to work really well. It's more important to find what you like, what you can stick with.
Thank you. And thank you, Robin, for sharing a lot of best practices as well as tips in the chat. And I believe those are all the questions that we are able to, that we address. And please let me know if we're missing anything. And if there's no other questions, we will end this webinar. And again, we're gonna start making a playlist, and the link is already created so that you can rewatch this and you're not missing anything. And it's gonna be sent out in the follow-up email. And
Okay.
thank you, Kathy, for conducting the workshop after office hours. And thank you everyone for consistently attending this workshop. We hope that you're finding a lot of value out of it. When you sign off, there is going to be an evaluation survey. Please take some time to complete it. Let us know how we're doing so we can continue to improve our program.
Great
Thank you,
seeing
everyone.
everybody. And thank you to Sacramento Valley SBDC for making this possible. It's a big deal.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.